console commands are a tool available to PC players, allowing them to modify the game and its settings in numerous ways. This could mean your character's height, spawning in weapons and armor to help your run, or even becoming completely immune to damage and using resources. Mess around with them too much though, and you can make your game horrendously unstable, destroying your world to a degree that would make even Cthulhu blush. With that said, in today's video we find out, can you beat Fallout 3 as Sonic the Hedgehog? Now before we begin the run, let's get the rules out of the way. Firstly, every 10 minutes I have to increase my speed by 10%. More on why this is a bad thing a little bit later. I cannot steal or kill innocent people, as Sonic is a goodest boy and will never attack unprovoked. I have to complete all rescue missions in the base game and save any captives I find because Sonic is always a hero, and the only weapons and armor I can use are my fists, the Chinese officer's sword, and metal armor. The reason for the sword and armor is that in Sonic the Hedgehog and the Black Knight, he is seen wielding a sword and eventually wears a suit of knight's armor. I did initially think that maybe I should be able to wear power armor, but I figured that would make things too easy. So with all of that out of the way, let's begin. So to start, we have character creation, and I couldn't find anywhere a mod to turn myself into Sonic, so instead we go as blue as we can, turn our eyes the signature green, and make sure we have all the blue hair we can before flashing forward a year. Here we select our special stats, and it's all pretty much what you'd expect. The standout stats are agility for obvious reasons, and charisma because despite what Eggman's thoughts are on Sonic, he's a very likeable guy and makes friends with ease. It's now our 10th birthday, and we get a Grognak comic, which we immediately read, receive a sweet roll in an endless Bethesda joke, and our bully tries to take it. We make fun of him because he's starting a gang that's just gonna break up after a GOAT exam, and our daddy dearest gets a call on the intercom. I get sent down to the reactor, and we hit an immediate impasse. See, we're forced to kill a Radroach here with the BB gun, but as other challenge runners agree that this one Radroach is fair game to progress the story without escaping the vault as a baby, we kill the roach and move forward to the goat. Here, we grab a medicine bobblehead as it's going to be absolutely necessary, show off the Blue Bolt's silver tongue by talking down the bullies, and skip the test because I don't need a job. I'm a damn wasteland hero. We put our tag skills into explosives to disarm the bomb, melee weapons for an immediate boost of the sword's strength when I get it, and speech because there will be a few situations where talking is necessary. We leave, get flashed with light, and wake up from a dream about a martyr. It's here that the timer for the run starts. I refuse a gun she offers me, go fight a guard and some roaches, and give Butch my BB gun. He spends so much time hitting us with bravado, so now's his time to prove everything he says. Now, we decide to keep the Vault jumpsuit on until we get our metal armor, as it does keep us blue until such a time as we can get protection. Afterwards, we grab a few stims from the clinic, knock out some guards who were about to shoot a runner, accidentally draw the attention of the officer interrogating a martyr alongside another guard, and let my army of roaches save my life. As a side note, I have no idea why more roaches spawned, but I'm definitely glad they did, as they might have saved my life there. Afterwards, we get the door open, loot some more bits just before we leave, while also fighting off guards, and now it's time to leave. Escaping the vault, it's your run-of-the-mill start-off, running straight to Silver's house, talking her into giving me the money she owes Moriarty, and heading to Megaton. Here, we agree to deal with a bomb, agree to blow it up, get info from Moriarty, do some trading with Moira, tell Van Helsing about Burke, and try to rescue him from being killed. Sadly, Burke doesn't turn his attention to me until after Lucas is dead. On the way to Galaxy News Radio, we pick up a skill buck to increase our sneak, and we head to a bridge where I know some raiders spawn, in hopes that one of them will have a sword. Sadly, it's no luck, so into the tunnels we go. We fight off some mole rats and grab the key to get into some ghouls. We try to loop them so we can open the door behind them. We miss it once and get it the second time and run like hell. Trying to lead them into a different fight, we go well away from the area we need to go to, so I have to double back and lead them to the super mutant waiting for us at the top of the tunnel. Using this opportunity though, we run out of the metro, meet up with a brotherhood, and go steal a dead guy's gear. After all, he won't need it anymore. We advance toward the radio station, and I see just how deftly underpowered I am and run straight to the entrance. Lion's Pride decided to take a day off from fighting for a hot minute, and now it's Behemoth time. I make sure to loot Reddin, as in every playthrough, I always lose her corpse. And then the Behemoth decides that it just doesn't want to play. I chase it, then it chases me a few times back and forth until eventually it drops and I can go and speak to Three Dog. He tells me about how his broadcast dish is damaged and he wants me to replace it with a space shuttle's transmission disc. I agree, and it's time to run into DC. On the way, I fight my way through a bunch of ghouls before I realise I should really be saving my supplies. DC's gonna be deadly if I don't have enough speed. On the way there, I find some mutants, realise I'm too weak to fight them, so I run away, only to run into a couple of raiders. I leave them to fight it out, and can you guess who wins? Surprisingly, it's the raiders. I finish the last one off, only to run into another raider in the tunnel. I bitch slap her and she runs off, giving me enough time to loot, and then I continue on, only to realise where I am. Behind the door is at least 3 more raiders and 2 turrets I physically cannot touch. We gotta run for it, and surprisingly, I escape barely harmed. We make a break straight towards the museum station exit, and I have one goal in mind. Not to get to the lunar lander, but instead, get to Underworld. Running there, I get pursued by a mutant with a minigun who just does not want to leave me alone. Serves me right for taking the more dangerous route anyway. Now, I get to Underworld on the hunt for Tulip in hopes that she has a sword for me, but I just can't find her. She's not in her bed, nor Carol's, nor Azrakal's, nor the chop shop. And oh, wait, she's in Quinn's bed. I don't want to know what sloppy mess was going on there. But no luck anyway, no sword. But I at least get my hands on some more meds before going into the Museum of Tech. When I go there, I decide sneaking through would be a good idea, but it doesn't go as planned. So I run through 2 stealth boys in the left hand side, match the speed of Voltech's lights somehow, and end up in the second part of a museum. I turn to my left only to be met by a mutant going downstairs, so I decide that going right might be my best option, until a 50 rated lock blocks my path. Coming down here was a mistake, as it also spawned more mutants walking straight to me. So I just had to run for my life without looking back. I get down to the lander, yoink the dish and double back. Just before I leave, I jump down to grab the third and final stealth boy in the lobby and run outside. Now here I remember that Talon Company can also carry swords at times, so I run to the Capitol buildings in hope that, nope, no swords there. So now it's off to a monument, where I run around the back of it, just for a little bit of extra sellable loot, and then go up to the top. Here, I get a metal helmet, which means I finally have a modicum of defense. Not much, but it'll do. I return to Three Dog and get told that my dad went to Rivet City. So it's now back to the metro that I first entered to get to GNR. On the road down to Rivet, I hear a wasteland captive while I'm fighting off some centaurs. So it's now side rescue time. After the centaurs are dead, it's time for the mutant that leads them. I survive the fight while barely even taking a hit, which actually surprised me, and I set the captive free. Continuing down the road, I find a Mirelurk, and that is a whole mess that I want no part of. Running away from it, I make it to Dukov's place and leave the Eyebot there, fighting the raiders, and meet a bridge troll who also has no sword. Seriously, why can I not find a sword? Anyway, it's more of the same, centaurs and mutants down the way, and I find myself at a mutant camp near the Jefferson Memorial. The mutant near the captive can often have a minigun, so I decided that maybe it's best to leave them for now, so I can come back a little bit later and hopefully a bit better armed. I make my way down to Rivet City, do some trading, and seriously? Still no sword nor any metal armor in sight? My god. I then reluctantly speak to Lee and get told that my dad went into the memorial to restart Project Purity, so off I went. Here I decide to clear the way ready for when I find Liam Neeson, as I really don't want to fight my way through at a higher level when masters can spawn in there. It made sense to do it now, as I had to grab some holotapes anyway. So on my way up to the memorial, I noticed a kind of, I guess, glitch, if you would. If you rush an opponent with a gun and get right in close to them, a good portion of their bullets just go off in any direction except for in you. So I start using this to my advantage and systemically fight my way through the mutants. Now, I thought that the holotape that I needed was in the basement. It's been a very long time since I've actually done the first act of this game, and I pay for it. During this fight, I end up running out of stim packs, and I'm forced to chomp and gulp down any food and drinks that I might have left in my inventory, just in order to have any hope of surviving this. I make it out of the fight, but barely, and come to realise this isn't even where I need to be. So I head up to the cistern and realise that I have no hope of finishing off the final mutants. So I grab the holotapes and just run. Here I'm instructed to go to Smith Casey's garage. Before I make the great journey, I decide to stop by Doc Preston in Rivet City, and thank God he had just shy of 30 stims. He just saved my life. And like it was written in the stars, just outside was Doc Hoff, who had 5. You call yourself a doctor and you only have 5 stims? What a letdown. Anyways, it's back to Vault 101 for the arduous journey west to Smith Casey, and on the way there was only actually one notable fight, and you're gonna giggle at this. Despite all of my speed increases so far, in the top left if you hadn't noticed, this one mole rat somehow managed to keep up with me and actually managed to devastate my health, dropping it by half. Now getting to Smith Casey's was uneventful, and now it's time for Tranquility Lane. While we're in there, it's time to explain something. Why didn't I just head straight there from the get-go? Now, it's a personal reason. As you can see in the top left, my speed is currently double that of the regular movement speed, meaning that I'd already adjusted my speed 10 times. Now, I felt as though, had I have rushed straight to Smith Casey's, it would have made the challenge run a lot less of a challenge, having much less to do. Instead, I thought it would be more appropriate to follow the story to the letter. Anyway, we now activate the failsafe, saving everyone who's been trapped in these pods for the past 200 years. And now Dad wants to go to Rivet City. Now I decided that while I'm in the region, I'd may as well go discover Little Lamplight and get that fast travel location discovered. On the way, I noticed that Brotherhood outcasts are fighting a robot, so I go to help them out and get my face completely melted by a truck that took too many hits. Heading northwards, I also go to fight some mutants, and during this fight I somehow knock out a brute. Not kill, knock it out. Now this also happens a couple more times later on, and I cannot for the life of me figure it out. I thought that it might have been the fatigue effect that's also in New Vegas, but upon researching it, fatigue doesn't exist in that sense in Fallout 3. I also didn't have Paralyzing Strike, nor am I running any mods. So if anyone has any ideas how this happened, please let me know. Continuing on, I keep running and I just stare at the moon. Does it seem way too close for anyone else? That might be a science video at some point. Maybe. Anyway, I end up getting disturbed by a family of scorpions, so I wipe them out, and I know that I've taken a wrong turn when I hit Rockbreaker's last gas. Now in hindsight, I definitely should have discovered the shack next to it for a later encounter here, but we end up fighting some raiders and end up running away. Lucky that I did actually, because when I discovered Little Lamplight, I decided to head back, and what do I see but the raiders, followed by a super mutant. One of the raiders and I end up having a temporary truce, opting to instead kill the bigger threat, and then I turn on my unlikely ally. We then head back to Megaton, do some trading, and do the water pipe repair quest, just for a little bit of extra XP and caps. We then make our way to Rivet City, and it's time for Project Purity. I go to the previously mentioned super mutant camp that I avoided, and there's no mutants. The weapons are here, the captive's here, so where are they? No matter, I free the captive and it's time to take out the last couple of mutants in the cistern. Project Purity goes as normal, back, forth, Enclave, and now it's time to punch power armor. A totally normal statement that. The glitch from before also works on the Enclave, so beating them was actually surprisingly a non-issue. And now my papa dies. During this I decide to find out how solid Lee's head is. Pretty damn tough, honestly. Into the sewers, Gaza decides to just sleep in. So it's just myself, Lee, Alex and Dan. We run down to a terminal and I remembered there's some Chinese bits on a table here. I'm sure there'd be a sword here, right? Wrong. Just a lot of pain. After fighting off the ground troops, I run after everyone only to watch Alex get popped by a ghoul. Daniel helps me take them down and it's on to the second stage. Trying to glitch myself up to the soldiers on the top of the exit, I watch Daniel's head decorate the walls. Then help Lee escape by leading her into ghouls as a glorified meat shield. You did good, Maddie. You did good. We're now at the Citadel and I gotta do a quick back and forth to go get access to trading. Still no swords. As such, I move on and decide that no matter what, I'm getting a sword. So I go to the raiders outside the Citadel. No luck, only pain. After, I head to the Anchorage Memorial, but just a mole rat encounter, and then finally end up at the Super Duper Mart. Now I should have come here earlier, because I rinse through my healing supplies so hard that I have to temporarily leave the area. Close to death, I hobble my way back to Megaton, and my speed finally shows why this was supposed to be a challenge. As I go down the hill, I fall to my death and decide, yeah, maybe I should go slower for a sec. Now I make my way to a doctor and he graces me with a bunch of stims, and it's time for round 2. This time, we finish off the remaining raiders, and I get into the pharmacy. Here we get more meds, I activate the Protectron, and we go take out the remaining raiders. Now one raider, however, just so happens to be in possession of my prize. Finally, my weapon is in sight. I make this raider my priority target, and I finally have a weapon. One that hits like a wet noodle, but a weapon no less. We finish off the raiders and it's back to the Citadel to find a Gek. Turns out one's housed in Vault 87. So I wake up Rothschild and we discuss on how to get in. I then make a quick stop to Vault 101, complete the quest there. It's only a brief visit though. Talk to a martyr, talk to her dad, talk to her again, and I'm kicked back out for being better at diplomacy than the both of them. We now head to Little Lamplight, pick up the quest to save the kids, and then get into Lamplight because I'm a child at heart. Here, I stock up on supplies, grab the Wazer Rifle, offer to take Sticky to Big Town, and it's out we go. During this time I was also talking to one of my friends and they said that it only makes sense to be allowed companions as Sonic always has one as well. This was a relief. So I went and picked up Star Paladin Cross, we went to Rockbreaker's Last Gas and yeah, this was a mistake, as when we get there, the first conflict that they're both involved in, they die. What the hell, man? Well, I guess I'm on my own again. Off to Paradise Falls, I guess. Hooray. On my way there though, I ran across something special, honestly. A Wastelander. As in, that's his name, a Wastelander. I have never had this encounter before and I can't find any documentation on it. I have no mods installed, so I have no clue whatsoever about this encounter. Moving on though, we make it to Paradise Falls and it's no nonsense. Straight to a slaughter. There weren't actually too many challenges to face here. Most of the slavers are armed with shotguns, so I just have to focus on Jotun, Ymir and Clover. Now Jotun was the first to fall, rewarding me with metal armor. Finally. And then next was Clover. Taking her down in the clinic was borderline poetic if you ask me. Lastly, Ymir shows his face once I'd cleared out the majority of the final slavers, and then I go to end Eulogy and free not just the kids, but all of the slaves in Paradise Falls. It's then time to finally go through Murder Pass and yeah, Princess doesn't want to move. After speaking to her, she finally realizes that she exists, and it's time for Sonic the Hedgehog to truly shine through. I run through the entirety of Murder Pass and the vault as though it were just an evening stroll. We free Forks and let him take out everything on our rear, and then we go off to fight the remaining mutants ahead. Expecting Forks to have at least moved, I come back to find out he's been stood still during my entire MMA tournament. As such, I push him as much as I can to make sure he gets there fast. And now we wait for the Gek. When we get it, we go for a run, and you can see clearly I'm nearly 2 rooms away from the Enclave concussion grenade, only to be teleported back. Gotta love scripted pieces. We wake up in a holographic cell, being watched by Mr. Leaves himself, and tell him the wrong code. That's another bad guy gone, and the president calls Autumn away. I smooth talk with prison officer and get out of being shot. I then speed sneak through the second level and refuse the president's offer, and we then use our supersonic speed to escape Raven Rock without ever being shot and watch Forks obliterate everything in sight. It's time for us to grab our knuckles. Going to fast travel away, we are consistently told that we can't travel with enemies nearby. We eventually find the culprit, so take it out, head to Underworld, grab some stims, wake up Riley to get her quest, and afterwards it's time for the March of Liberty Prime. Now, we're in a unique position. We get to run off ahead and try to take out the Enclave troopers in the way in hopes to speed things up. Didn't work very well though. Nothing really of note happens, so we rush to Autumn, take him out. I now input the code to the purifier, and I end up running a lap around Jeffersons Statue before I hit enter. Why the hell not? With this, while I have beaten the game, I haven't beaten the challenge. Oh no, we still have some lives to save. I now travel back to Paradise Falls so I can go and discover Big Town. While I couldn't bring Sticky, I sure as hell could save Red and Shorty. I get the info I need and I head towards Germantown. On the way, I notice some slavers attacking a water caravan, so I do all I can to save them, and thankfully, only the Brahmin was lost. It's then quite an uneventful run, but I also realised that there was a distinct lack of laser rifle, so I end up heading back to the Citadel and find that Forks is still just chilling there. So I grab him, then head back to the police station. We slaughter our way through to the ground floor, and one of the first mutants that we come across was a jailer, a super mutant overlord. Now for those of you who've only played Fallout 4 and 76, they did overlords dirty in the newer games. In Fallout 3, they are among the most tanky enemies, with the health that rivals a behemoth, ranged capability, and most of their weapons have an unnegatable 35 damage on top of their standard damage. We managed to put down the Overlord, and to save her life, we don't take Red yet. Instead, we go down to the kitchen where there's another Overlord incorrectly named as just an ordinary super mutant. Now this has happened in every playthrough I've ever done, so I just accept this as reality. We have a lengthy sword/fist fight, I suppose, as Forks just doesn't want to walk through the door. During the fight, the mutant decides he just wants to eat Shorty. So instead he starts attacking him. Now I don't like this idea. I've already lost one of these guys and I refuse to lose another. As such, I push the mutant back enough to aggro back onto me, and we finally take him out. We get the prisoners back to Big Town, and I offer to help defend the town, but for a while, no mutants spawn. Instead, I have to go out to find them to trigger the fight. But I'm now a hero of Big Town, and next is the one kid everyone hates in Fallout 3. Brian Wilkes. It's time for those. So initially, I couldn't get Brian to come and find me, so I had to go to Gradage. After killing my first ant, he finds me and I convince him to let me steal his dad's things. I tell him his dad is dead, go find Lesko and go fight off the Ant Queen's royal guard. I choose Ant Strength from Lesko for not killing her, and then I tell Brian about the success and set him up to live with his Aunt Vera in Rivet City. While out in Rivet City, I decide to go and save Mr. Lopez from every man's worst enemy, his own mind. I convince him that life is worth living, and now it's time for Riley's Rangers. Now this was always gonna be a hard fight. Forks and I bludgeon, slash and pew our way through hordes of mutants and centaurs, going from the hospital into a Statesman hotel. While Forks fights off the mutants in the restaurants, I believe it's a smart idea to go into a storeroom and grab the fission battery early. Finishing off the last Overlord, we make our way to the roof, install the fission battery, and now myself, Forks and Rangers all fight our way back onto the streets And now we're on to our last rescue mission. It took us a while, but we finally find our way to Falls Church. What's even better is that where I emerge is right next to where we need to be. When we climb the stairs, Forks and I see a Brotherhood Paladin fighting off mutants. We help him in the fight and he tells us that he and his initiate were running some training exercises when they were cut off by mutants. We agree to go and save the initiate and fight our way through a few more mutants. And when they're all dead, Hoss slowly advances as though there's still mutants there. Why? Very entertaining, honestly. A few more mutants later, we find our way to the lost initiate, we repair his gun, walk him outside, and finally prove that yes, you can beat Fallout 3 as Sonic the Hedgehog. Now if you can think of any more rescue missions that I haven't done in the base game, or you would like to see a sequel of this, let me know, as I know for a fact there are a few rescues to do in the DLCs, and there's also other games that I can complete this challenge in. So keep me posted. Otherwise, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you're liking, subscribing and commenting your favourite part. Make sure to stay tuned because there is a new video every single week. Other than that, I'm done for tonight. Thank you very much and good night.